Eating too much salt isn't good for your health, but what's the limit? Salt is a natural resource found everywhere from the ocean to our tears. It's tasty, and it can be really cheap to buy. But like many things, too much salt isn't great, especially for our health. Because it's linked to Australia's biggest killer, cardiovascular disease, salt is talked about a lot in health messaging and the media. But some messages about salt need to be taken with a grain of, well, salt. We've busted some salt myths to make it easier for you to stay healthy. So, is salt really bad for you? Here are 6 myths and facts about salt. Myth 1. All salt is out to kill you, and you shouldn't eat any of it. Eating too much salt can contribute to high blood pressure, which is linked to conditions like heart failure and heart attack, kidney problems, fluid retention, stroke and osteoporosis. You might think this should mean you need to cut out salt completely, but salt is actually an important nutrient for the human body. Your body uses salt to balance fluids in the blood and maintain healthy blood pressure, and it is also essential for nerve and muscle function. It's impossible to live a life without any salt, you'll die, but this isn't a problem for most people. In fact, the average Australian is consuming double the recommended amount of salt. So, while a little salt in your diet is necessary, it's important to keep the amount in check. The Australian Dietary Guidelines recommend adults eat no more than 5 grams of salt a day, which is less than 1 teaspoon. Most of us are consuming about 9 grams a day. To help you track how much salt you're eating, you can find out how much salt is in packaged foods by looking at the food label for the sodium level, since salt is made up of sodium and chloride. Try to aim for items that have less than 120 milligrams of sodium per 100 grams of the food. You should aim for a maximum of 2,000 milligrams of sodium a day. Myth 2. Pink, black, rock, sea, Himalayan salt is better for you than other types of salt. You might have seen some varieties of salt advertised as having extra health benefits that regular table salt doesn't, like containing minerals that are good for your body. Consumer advocacy group Choice say that Australians should be wary of these kinds of health claims, as the minerals found in salts like Himalayan sea salt are often present only in very small amounts. Himalayan salt, sea salt, rock salt, black salt, pink salt, unicorn salt, in the end, it's all still salt. Upping your salt intake to try and get the benefits of an advertised mineral might lead you to consume far too much salt, putting yourself at risk of disease. If you're looking for a great way to get healthy minerals and other nutrients in your diet, fruits and veggies are a great source of these. Head on over to the Healthier, Happier. You can find the best nutrients in your favorite fruit and veggies. Myth 3. Some people naturally crave more salt than others. Good news for those who think they're naturally a salt eater: the taste for salty foods is learned rather than built in. It's possible to retrain your taste buds to like foods with less salt in them, it'll just take a little time. Try these tips for eating less salt. Eat mostly fresh food instead of processed food, which tend to be high in added salt. Go for packaged and canned foods labeled no added salt, low salt, or salt reduced. Compare similar packaged foods by looking at the food labels and choosing the item with less sodium. Swap deli meats like ham for canned fish in spring water, or leftover meat from your last meal. Use small amounts of sauces with a high salt content. Flavor your cooking with a variety of herbs and spices. Avoid adding salt at the table, you could even leave the salt grinder in the cupboard. Myth 4. You can tell that a food is salty by tasting it. Some foods with a high salt content won't taste very salty at all. Many packaged foods that contain a lot of salt have other ingredients that balance out the salty flavor, so that the salt is effectively hidden in the food. You can visit the Heart Foundation and Vic Health's website to find out more about reducing hidden salts in your diet. Myth 5. You should eat or drink more salt after working out. Salt comes out of your body in 2 ways, through urine and through perspiration, but that doesn't mean you need to add extra salt to your diet every time you break a sweat. Some products, like sports drinks, are advertised as a good way to replace lost salts after working out. Under usual circumstances, sports drinks that contain electrolytes are not necessary for rehydration, the process of replacing lost fluids and salts. Tap water and consuming a healthy diet will help replace any nutrients lost during any activity. Sports drinks can be used to rehydrate if you have exercised continuously for 90 minutes or more. If you're thinking about starting a new and more strenuous exercise regime and wondering about how to dehydrate properly, it's a good idea to talk to your doctor about how this might affect your health and your dietary needs. Myth 6. If you had high blood pressure caused by too much salt, you'd be able to tell. More than 30% of Australian adults have high blood pressure, and according to the Heart Foundation, half of them don't even know it. Most people with high blood pressure don't display any symptoms, so it's important to get your blood pressure checked regularly. If you do have high blood pressure, reducing salt, along with getting regular physical activity, moderating alcohol intake, quitting smoking and reducing stress, might help manage it, reducing the risk of damage to your body. If you made it up to this point, it's now time to see what is the effect of eating too much salt, both in the short and long term. Short term. You may notice that you feel more bloated or puffy than usual. This happens because your kidneys wish to maintain a specific sodium to water ratio in your body. To do so, they hold on to extra water to compensate for the extra sodium you ate. This increased water retention may result in swelling and can cause you to weigh more than usual. A salt-rich meal can also cause a larger blood volume to flow through your blood vessels and arteries. This may result in a temporary rise in pressure. That said, not everyone may experience these effects. Eating a salty meal can also cause you to have a dry mouth or feel very thirsty. Encouraging you to drink is another way in which your body tries to correct the sodium to water ratio. To sum up, short-term consumption of high amounts of salt can cause water retention, a temporary rise in blood pressure, excess thirst, and, in severe cases, hypernatremia. However, some people may experience little side effects. Long-term. Research suggests that salt-rich diets significantly increase blood pressure, and that lowering the salt content of a person's diet can help lower their blood pressure levels. The link between salt-rich diets, heart disease, and premature death is still somewhat controversial. Some studies suggest that high salt intakes cause a rise in blood pressure and a stiffening of blood vessels and arteries. In turn, these changes may result in a higher risk of heart disease. While it's possible that eating too much salt doesn't increase the risk of heart disease or premature death for everyone, more studies are needed before strong conclusions can be made. To sum up, eating too much salt in the long term may raise your blood pressure and increase your risk of stomach cancer. It may also increase the risk of heart disease and premature death, although more research is needed to confirm this. Thanks for watching. If you like our video, then hit the like button and don't forget to share and subscribe to our channel for more valuable videos to improve your health.